Lions fans have been asking for Steve and Will to do an episode and talk more about what we're going to talk about today. It's been a little bit. We haven't forgot about this player. Will, this was kind of your idea, so I'll set the table. What in the world are we talking about on this fine Tuesday night?
Today we're going to talk about none other than Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith. No, I'm just joking. He's not the main course, but I figured we get him out of the way.
Some good cowboy chaps. Good old cowboy chaps.
I tell you what, man, those had to set him back. Maybe that's why he's asking for so much money. He's got to pay for outfits like this. But Zadarius Smith, Steve, yesterday at the BT Awards, said some things. He said some things, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but the gist of it was this. He got interviewed and he was asked, what's going on with you, Detroit Lions? Are you trying to go back to the Detroit Lions? Are you guys still in talks or whatever? And he basically summed it up as, they know where I want to be, and I hope that we get it figured out. Steve, to me, that's hope. That's hope. He wants to be in Detroit still, and it's not one of those things to where it's kind of speculated that he wants to be in Detroit. Now it's just came straight out of his mouth. The ball is in Brad Holmes' hands. So, Steve, before we get into the main course here, how do you feel about that?
Why is this deal not done yet? That's how I feel. Why is this deal not done? Plain and simple. Listen, there's obviously a mutual interest. Brad Holmes would not have traded for Zadarius Smith if he did not want him to be a Detroit Lion. It was only half the season, but you have to give up some draft capital to get a player like Zadarius. So why would we not want to sign him to another contract, considering we gave up a little something to get him? Nothing crazy. I can't even remember what it was. Well, a 3rd-round pick or something. Like, I'm not losing any sleep over that. It's so irrelevant that I can't even remember what it was. But we gave up something to get him. Brad Holmes wanted him here. Just last night, Zadarius said he wants to be here. What's the holdup? Is it a dollar amount? Is it contract length? Because William, all I can think about the last couple days or the last week is got a couple extra bucks now that Frank Ragnar's retired. All right. Why don't we go and spend that on a player that Brad Holmes wants here and a player in Zadarius Smith who wants to be here? I don't understand what the holdup is. I can't even begin to speculate what it might be. It seems like the two parties are interested. So what's going on, Will? What's happening? Why is this not done yet?
My guess is it's a year thing. I'm guessing Zadarius probably wants 2 seasons and Brad wants to sign him to a 1-year deal. And I think that's where the bottom line. I don't even think it's 1 million, 2 million left or right, because I think that both of those guys figure out a way to figure that out. I think that Brad is like, listen, man, how old is he? 30. Let me look it up while I'm talking. 32. So he's 32 years old. It's not like he's completely out of the door like he's a freaking 35, 36 years old, but
he'll be up 33 there when the season starts.
Yeah. So you're looking at a guy. Do you want to have him play 33 and 34? Is that what you want? Do you want to sign on to that? Now, from what I seen out of him last season, for the right price, I'm cool with a 2-year deal. It's got to be $10 million, $12 million, though. It can't be that 15 million, 17 million. It can't be those crazy numbers, but 10 mil, 2 seasons, I'd be down. Well, I wouldn't even bat an eye at it, man. Just like we've talked about for that insurance. So I'm interested to see. He did put out a tweet that he deleted, just talking about you get what you pay for. The statistics don't lie. So I don't know, Zadarius. I hope that it gets figured out. Uncle Brad's out there penny pinching, doing what he does, his financial discipline thing. But this is something that will really bring me a warm and fuzzy. So I think I can speak for both of us, cheering for these guys to figure this out here at Detroit Den 313.
Warm and fuzzy, Will. I'm over the fucking moon if we sign Zadarius Smith. All right. We talked about it the other day when we mentioned Marcus Davenport. Maybe it takes some reps off Marcus. You sign Zadarius, maybe he only has to play 50-50 ball. Him and Marcus just kind of rotating in and out, take some pressure off Hutch, because now you got someone on that other side to worry about. I think this is just an all-around good move. Dollars, years, I don't know, Brad, but let's just go ahead and figure it out. Let's make this a done deal. I don't need a warm and fuzzy. Well, this is Christmas come early if this happens. All right, let's not downplay this.
Yeah, I'm not Christmas comes early on it, but I'm definitely warm and fuzzy. It'll just make me more comfortable with Marcus Davenport, knowing that if he gets banged up, we're not gonna have to get strong-armed by some other team, because that's what's going to happen, Steve. Marcus Davenport goes down, and we're looking like we got Batman with no Robin next to him. Them teams are going to be like, hey, man, a player that we got on our squad that we may have gave up for maybe this, you need him? Hey, now that price is this. And that's not what I want to see for the Detroit Lions. I want to see the situation similar to our secondary. Somebody goes down in the secondary, we got a guy. Shoot, two guys go down in that secondary, we got a guy. All right, and that's what I want to see from this defensive line now. There's no disrespect to some of these other guys. I like Al-Quadin Muhammad. I think he's tough, and he's a guy that I've seen what he's come back from the offseason looking like. He already looked like a freaking superhero. He's got even bigger, stronger, faster, and still somehow lean. It looks crazy. So some of these other guys can do some stuff individually, but I think of those guys like Josh Pascal. I think he's more of a run stopper. You look at Muhammad, he's more of a pass rusher. Where you got Zadarius, you got Marcus Davenport, where they're 3 down guys, man. You don't got to worry about them. You can put them out there until they get tired. And ultimately, I would love to have 2 of them.
This could give Hutch a little rest too. You could put one at each end. You could have Marcus Davenport and Zadarius Smith both at your D end. If maybe Hutch needs a series or 2 off, save him for some fourth quarter crunch time. It's just this is just such a good deal. I needed to get done. Like a bunny bouncing around in my backyard gives me a warm and fuzzy. Will signing one of the best premier pass rushers that's available, known to be available, absolutely puts me over the moon. But we've talked about it. We'll see what happens. He made some comments yesterday that we talked about on the BET Awards with him and his girlfriend were there. So he wants to be here. Let's get the deal done. What else we got for today, Will?
Now, I've been wanting to talk about this young man. Steve, we have none other than Roy Lopez on the docket today. Roy Lopez excites me to a special level. I think that he is one of the most underrated signings and underrated Lions in general. I don't hear anyone but people in the comments here and there talking about Roy Lopez. We signed him. Most people were like, who the heck is that? Then he came to Detroit with this cowboy hat on, and people were like, what ranch is this? Is he from Yellowstone? What is going on? I don't even know who this dude is. Like, what's happening? What did the Lions do here? Steve, are you excited about Roy Lopez?
I'm one of those ones, I have to be honest with. When we signed Roy Lopez, I was like, who? What? Like, what's this? What's going on? Don't have a whole lot of information about him. And then, William, I had to designate the rest of my day to looking at some tape, some highlights, some film. And I said, I think I'm in love. I think I'm in love with what we just did. Now, I don't think he's a needle pusher. I don't think he's a premier starter. I think I know what our defensive line is going to look like with everyone healthy when Ali McNeil comes back. But if you're telling me on that second wave of pass rushers that I've been talking about since February, Roy Lopez is in there. And I know Roy Lopez, if you look at his stats, you look at his numbers, he's not a sack guy, but he can be a pressure guy. He could be a guy that you have to account for. He's very solid against the run game. He's more athletic than what I thought he was, Will. He shoots those gaps violently. I like it. I think he's a great addition. I think he's a great piece for what we signed him to be, which is just a depth, insurance, safety blanket piece. I do think he's forgotten about, and I don't think we've really mentioned his name, maybe here or there in passing, but haven't really done an episode on him since I think March when he was signed. We've just kind of, oh yeah, don't forget about Roy Lopez. Like we haven't forgot about him. We just really haven't shined the light on him very recently since March. So he's worth talking about. I think he's going to play a big role for the Detroit Lions, especially with the Lee McNeil being out. What is that going to look like with training camp? Because Tyleek Williams is still a little banged up from his pro day. So you're really looking at who's your starting defensive tackle rotation. Is it Anzarike, Lopez? I'm not even going to mention Broderick Martin. I know you're going to bring that up at some point today, Will, so I'll just get ahead of that. What's our defensive tackle rotation going to look like? Roy Lopez is going to be involved.
He's definitely going to be involved. Steve, when I think about Roy Lopez, the first thing I think about is Coach Campbell at the owners meeting. So I'm gonna clip that in here, and then I'm gonna talk about that.
He's a down and dirty. Doesn't mean he can't play third down, but he lives in base a lot, man. He's taking on the double teams. He's keeping people off the backers. He can get an edge on you, and he'll just do it time out, time in, time out again, over and over. And one of the things that impressed me about him was when we played him. I mean, him going against Frank all day. We ran the heck out of the ball, but man, that guy held his own now.
Steve, when Coach Campbell gave that press conference, I thought to myself, Let me go do some digging. And I immediately went to the tape and I said, man, what better tape to watch than him playing against Frank Ragnow? And Steve, when I tell you it gave me all the answers that I needed. Now, did I watch some other tape? I did, just because it's what I like to do anyways. But I wouldn't watch all of the plays against the Detroit Lions over and over and over. And Steve, I got a couple of the clips. I think that they may surprise you, because when Coach Campbell says that he held his own, I think he did more than hold his own. So let's do it. Now, I'm not sure what order I clipped them in this time, so I'm gonna talk about them as they kind of flow. But here he is right here, just owning the line of scrimmage, then trying to get his nose to the football. Here he is again, same thing, bumping from that 1 out to that 3, taking on that double team. Now, we've talked about getting hands on Jahmyr Gibbs, didn't bring him down, but he fights off that double team. Same thing, fighting off that double team, keeping these guys off of our linebackers. This one is just, I gotta stop this one, because we got to remember, this is Frank Ragnow. This isn't just some dude. This is Frank Ragnow. He's doing this too. Goal line situation. And when I talk about or think about Roy Lopez and the Detroit Lions, I think this is going to be one of his key situational plays that is just going to be super underrated until it gets into a situation where we need him to stop a tush push or a QB sneak or something like that. Just the thought of him, DJ Reader, Talik Williams, Aleem McNeil on the back end of this thing, being able to be a front is absolutely scary. But there he is in the middle of the defense, one-on-one against Frank Ragnow in a zero technique. This is what he does. Sorry, Frank, I throw him out the way. Now, they scored a touchdown, but if his 3 technique opposite of him wins his battle, they stuff us right there. He definitely won the one-on-one matchup. So moving through it. There he is again, 0 again, man. Taking on that double team. Smart enough to know to drop that knee, lean into it, and split that double team. He does not get moved from the line of scrimmage. Now, we're talking about situations where we got Graham Glasgow and Frank Ragnow. We got Penei Sewell and Kevin Zeitler trying to get him off of the line of scrimmage. And he is holding the line of scrimmage and taking the line of scrimmage against again. That's another one. See, that's another one. That's another one. Now, Frank, you know I love you. And it's he just got a couple of wins. Frank, you won the war in this battle. I will say that. You won the war. We won the game, and we rushed for some good yards. But this is Frank Ragnow, Steve, and this, you don't just do this to an all-pro, maybe a Hall of Famer, man. Like, this is what happens. Excuse me, Frank. Let me just ragdoll you and toss you on the ground. Like, this dude is strong to a level that is pretty special. And there's last one, splitting a double team and getting in on a tackle, man. Steve, Roy Lopez, he's a guy that the Detroit Lions can put out there in first and second down, and he's not losing the line of scrimmage. As I watched film for hours of Roy Lopez, I seen him lose the line of scrimmage one time get pushed off the line of scrimmage when he wasn't like chasing his gap on his own scheme, and then they try to double team him and keep riding his momentum. If he decides that he's going to anchor down and be somewhere, he's there, and your run scheme better run around him. That's going to be huge for the Detroit Lions, who do not want the ball run on them first in this defense. Again, the thought process of going down in the goal line situations, having potentials to be able to put Talik Williams out there, Aleem McNeil out there, Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike, Aiden Hutchinson could even be standing up, bouncing around, doing some cool stuff. Like, we got dudes upon dudes upon dudes. DJ Reader, we can own a line of scrimmage for 8 quarters, let alone 4. It's not just 4 guys. Steve, you've talked about waves of pass rushers. I don't believe we have waves of pass rushers yet, but we have waves of run stopping D linemen. Like, running the ball in Detroit is gonna be a problem here. Yeah, it's gonna be a no-no, man. So, Steve, watching the tape, I know you watched some already. How you feeling?
William, I could have swore we had a conversation about you using my Detroit Lions on your highlight film for other teams. I could have swore we had to talk about that just like 2 days ago. I don't know. Maybe Detroit done 3-on-3 needs to have a corporate policy that if you're using another another player from another team, you don't use the Detroit Lions as a measuring tool. Okay. But when I look at that and I just think to myself, the Detroit Lions defensive line is better than the Arizona Cardinals. So who are the guys he's going to be helping? Tyleik Williams, rookie, who we've talked about, who wasn't even allowed to really rush the passer at Ohio State because of their scheme. Marcus Davenport, what's he, 6'5", 280 pounds, Will? Like, you're going to double team Roy to leave him one-on-one? Are you going to double team Marcus to leave Roy one-on-one? Like, I think it just creates scenarios where if you're an offensive line, it's who do you double team? Do you double team 97? Do you double team Davenport? Because then you're just giving up some weakness in the middle. Like, you can only double team so many guys, and then someone's got to win a one-on-one. So I think that's what it comes down for me is who's going to win a one-on-one. I know Hutch is. I know Davenport's going to push a tackle into someone. I know Ali McNeil's going to win one-on-ones. Tyleik Williams, question mark, but I think he'll get there eventually. Roy Williams, you can't double team that guy. I mean, even if you double team him, he's going to stand his ground. So if he's one-on-one, I would expect him to win that matchup. I just love that we have a player like Roy that can do stuff like that and create matchup problems because we have a more talented defensive line than the team he was currently playing on. I think this is a very under the radar signing. We've had some time to really dissect it now going from March to June 10th, where we are today. And, we've had the rest of our free agency, the rest of our draft. Ahmed Hassanin, we could throw his name into the mix. Like there's so many players that we could talk about. Someone's going to win some one-on-ones, and we got a lot of players who are capable of doing that, Will. And the less players we can rush, the more players we can drop in coverage, and the more pressure we're putting on a quarterback with just 4 is just a recipe for success. So I absolutely love it. I think Roy Lopez is going to be a solid player for this team.
Yeah, me too, man. And I think what's going to be underrated is how he helps our linebacker play. Right? Because there's no real stat for that. Hey, how many double teams did you take on today? Like it's not something that's tracked, but as I watched the film, I seen a lot of linebackers running free and clean because you have a hard time just trying to chip him and then get up to the backers. It hasn't really been a thing. So I think guys that we're asking to take a step forward, like Jack Campbell, will have a just great situation from guys like DJ Reader. DJ Reader comes off of the field and then Roy Lopez is going out there. Another guy that can take on a double team. Like it's gonna be huge for our linebacker play, having these guys that can take on double teams and these guys that you can't just leave one-on-one, because Roy Lopez has historically been a guy who gets you 1 sack a season. If you hold the ball too long, he'll get to the quarterback. But I think what's underrated is when he does get into these one-on-one situations and pass sets, he just crushes the pocket. Like he just takes the center or the guard and he puts them in the QB's lap and makes you get off of the X. That, hey, I don't need you necessarily to be the one that's sacking the quarterback, but I need you to be able to create a lane left or right so Aiden or Marcus Davenport can get there. If you can do that, right, we're all good here. The last thing that I'll say about him is this. The last thing and the biggest thing that really excites me about him is he's 27 years old, and the Arizona Cardinals spoke about him, and they said if they had 53 Roy Lopez's, they would be sitting in a very good spot. This is a guy who's a 2-time state champion wrestler coming out of high school. This is a guy who believes in just working, and then working some more. He does everything that the coaches ask of him and then some. I think that he's going to surprise some people. And potentially, maybe next season, depending on what happens with DJ Reader, he could be a guy that's goes from in the rotation to maybe he's a key pivotal piece, man. I'm not saying that that's definitely going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised because he plays some doggone good football on first, second down. And if he's just continuing to stack wins and get better and better, and we lose DJ Reader in the offseason because of his last year of his contract, I think he could be a guy that's potentially plug and play in there. So situationally, I don't know, man. It could be a battle with some of these young guys to who's going to be out there in first, second down, stopping that run.
Time will tell, William. Training camp is inching its way closer and closer. That's all we got for tonight. Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.